we got today.
Do you think Art has made significant progress these past 2 games compared to, I mean, no turnovers. The completion percentage I know probably isn't the yards, but has he? Do you think he's made the biggest strides yet these past 2 games?
I think he's playing pretty well. I think he's seeing things much better these last couple weeks. Some things he didn't get an opportunity to get to. There are some things that you get to certain reads or whatever it may be for the first time. A lot of times with some of this stuff, like you get it in practice and think, okay, the ball's going here, or it's going here, and all of a sudden the game it's different. So everything's kind of new, but I do think, I mean, the guy's obviously battled his way through a difficult year every week and taking a lot of stuff for it one way or the other. But I think physically, I think he has progressed. I think he's got a better handle on and poise or confidence, whatever it might be. That I don't think he has that back of his head thinking, I got to do something now. Like we talked about it at Maryland. It was almost this over-aggressive, anxiousness to try to do something, where I think now he's been very positive the last couple of weeks. Not that he wasn't before, but very positive with the team about, hey, we're fine. Let's just get the ball back. We're going to score. We're going to make plays. He's positive talking to them as we take the field, and I don't think it's all false. I think he's more confident in what he's doing and believes that, hey, okay, just give me the ball and I'll figure this out. So I think that's helped. I think it's been as much, and obviously he knows what he's capable of. So I think there's some mental confidence to that as well.
Michigan's defense, at least statistically, could be a historic.
They can play on
defense.
Sundays.
Yeah,
I mean, that's as good a defense as I think I've ever seen. And this is a place I followed. I worked there. It was my first job. It's almost my second alma mater. I spent 4 years there and went to grad school there and learned from Gary Moeller and Lloyd Carr, and Greg Madison is still there, and Cam Cameron, Les Miles. Bo was there. We had lockers next to each other in the old GA locker room, and then I lived in his house for a couple months because his son was working with us. And so I learned that's where I learned how to get along in this profession, so to speak. So I've watched them for a lot of years, and they are playing at a hellacious pace. The effort on every play. Don Brown, he was, I think, coaching at UMass 20 years ago when I was at UConn, and it was the same relentless effort and scheme, and they made you they make you execute, they make you play hard, they make you give your maximum effort on every play, and you may get nothing for it in the end because they may just knock you back. But I really give them a lot of credit because obviously they have a lot of high rated players, or whatever it might be, and sometimes those guys, their effort's up and down. These guys, there's 11 guys on every play playing their best, and that's the biggest test, I think. Sometimes the bigger places, sometimes guys start worrying about injuries and oh, my career and where am I going to get drafted and what's my role. However they're doing it, they're playing at a tremendous level. So it's going to be as big a challenge as I've had.
I've heard offensive coordinators in your shoes talk about facing Michigan, a defense like that, and say, boils down to winning each play, basically. You can't really think too far. Is that really what it basically boils down to when you're an underdog like your team, seems to be?
Yeah, I think I think you have to really streamline realistically. What do you think you're getting here? You put up a scheme and go, okay, this should work, and then go, okay, well, who's blocking 15? And who's 3, and who's 10, and when you go through that, we're just doing it now. You got to really look hard at. You can't just line up and run your plays and think, oh yeah, here's their front, we'll just run this. They put a tremendous stress on all 11 of your guys on every play, and you can see what happens when you just make the casual mistake. The kid from Penn State goes in the game, he's rolling out, he thinks, oh, I got. And the ball goes the other way for 7 points. Like that whole game was basically over. Not that, I don't know if it wasn't, but it was 21 in their midfield. Maybe if they score. If you aren't at your highest level of intensity, or you're not giving the players something realistically has a chance to succeed, they're probably going to make it a bad ending for you on any play.
I'll ask you about number 3. Is he the main focal point? And how as good as defense has been, they've been without him for most
Right.
of the season.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what do you do with a guy like Rashawn Gary?
Well, I mean, there's a number of guys like that on that team, but obviously he's a tremendous force because for a guy that size to move like that and to play that hard and technique is at a high level and assignments. The guy doesn't bust things. He doesn't go off and do his own thing and try to do something above and beyond. He's always solid in that. So, I mean, obviously, we have to be very wary of how we protect the quarterback, and not he's taken a number of hits already this year, but I don't know if he hasn't taken them from guys that look like these guys. So the whole plan has to be around those type of guys. And again, 15 is another guy that I think he just plays at a tremendous level, intensity every snap. So everything is kind of starts there because they're right there, then they're coming, on the quarterback, and you want to just tell your tackles, hey, give it a shot. I mean, that's not fair to them, and it's not fair to whoever's, they're protecting and blocking for. So, they have to be accounted for in every play. But they're not the only guys, but I think they're the guys that have caused the most havoc, through the season, and they're the guys you have to be concerned about most on any play.
Do you take anything from the Ohio State game in the sense that it seemed like, as a neutral observer, you guys got out there and maybe like the first series was like, we can't do some of these things, or the speed kind of caught you off guard? Is this a similar situation where you learn from that? This is the next kind of elite defense you've seen.
Yeah, for me, yeah. I think I had a little bit different, I don't know, say expectation of, or, thought, okay, these are some good schemes and these are things that will give them problems for sure, and we'll be able to execute them. And then you get in the game and go, these guys are moving a little faster than they looked on tape, or that was early in the year. So you're looking at, they had one game of some of those guys hadn't played much, and they end up moving around a lot faster than you thought, or coming downhill harder, or whatever it might be. So yeah, I think that for me it was kind of a educational process of, okay, where are we and what can we really do against these guys. And I think we'll be fine. Our guys will go out and play their rear ends off. They do it every week. But we got to make sure as a staff we give them the best chance to succeed play to play, like you're saying. And try to string a couple of those together, and next thing you know, you hit a couple plays, and that's how it goes. But it's definitely as big a challenge as I've been around.
You're coaching Art this week, freshman going up against this defense. What's kind of your approach to him, as a quarterback's coach?
Well, I think you just got to be smart. Again, just like we've been saying the last couple of weeks, in terms of you don't have to go out and try to win the game. You don't want to lose. You point to a number of examples of a couple of these quarterbacks that just one little, instead of just throwing it away, they just at the last minute try to do one more thing. And when you do that against these guys, a lot of times it not only goes to them, it goes back the other way. And then the whole thing starts to kind of avalanche on you. So if you just be smart and play within the system, we're going to try to do whatever we can to make it as easy as possible mentally, because there's going to be obviously big physical challenges for him. But I think just making him feel comfortable with what he's good with, and let them know, hey, we're not trying to win the game on this one play and this one play. And there's more than enough examples on there of guys that either hold on to it too long and take unnecessary hits, or they try when the play's over and they just think, maybe I'll just do this. And usually when that happens, it's a bad ending, on the other side. So if you can just kind of avoid the big mistakes and just kind of keep moving forward with the ball, and if it doesn't work out in a series and we punt it, we come back again and try it again. I think if you could just continue to have that kind of mindset and, get through a third game in a row with no turnovers, I think that would be a big help to letting us kind of keep going forward here this week against a good defense.
Any other questions?
We asked Coach Ash about it before, but I want to get your opinion on it. Is there any consideration to moving Blackshear to the slot full time?
We almost, we talked about it earlier in the year at times. I don't know if that's totally I don't think we want to completely take him out of the running back realm, because he's good at it, and I know Isaiah's come along and John's been really good for us, but to take him completely out of that room, I don't know if that was, at least early on, I don't think we felt like that was the way to go. And now we've gotten into late in the season. Now you almost say, well, you got 3 days of practice. How much are you going to work on X amount of routes? So I kind of like how it is now. You know, there have been a number of games where we used him there, and sometimes the ball just didn't get there, whether it was a protection thing or they played a different coverage or whatever it was, and he didn't, you know, have the production that he did the other day. Certainly not really for anything he did, good or bad. It just didn't happen. So I don't, with three games to go, to move him there full time, probably not. And I don't know that that would be something you want to do. But I think there's a lot more we can do with him now that we kind of see, you know, Isaiah coming on. And, you know, obviously we knew what we had in John, but that could allow us a little more flexibility to move him around a little more. All right, thanks, guys.